How would your outlook on relationships change if you could tell immediately that the woman you've just met has clear red flags, is going to cheat on you and lie to you? The answer is clear. You would leave her and you would find someone who doesn't have those qualities. But the reality is, these red flags are always there from the get-go. Whether it's day one, first few weeks, or first few months, it's always there in the early stages of dating and courtship. But most modern men and women, due to their lust and knowledge gap on relationships, they sweep these things under the rug, only for these red flags to become deal breakers in the end. And in today's video, I have a case study to share with all of you in which this young man was involved with a woman who displayed very clear signs from the very beginning when he met her that she was a cheat, that she craved the attention of multiple men, that her past, that her background, there were things there that don't align or make her suitable to be a good woman for marriage. So let this be a lesson to all of you. This case study is going to greatly educate you and really serve as a reminder, a refresher, if you will, to avoid red flags, to be vigilant. In my personal experience, doing this now for 4 years, I've had case studies from men of all ethnicities, all ages, all cultures, hundreds and hundreds of emails from men, even a few have been women. And when it comes to relationships that fail, or they were doomed to fail, there's always an origin point. There's always red flags at the beginning. And I have documented this over the years. It's like a science, if you will. It becomes quite predictable. There are certain things that you can identify, whether it's in behavioral patterns, past history, things like that, that will always tell you something deeper going on in the person you were with. And when you become fine-tuned to this, changes the way you can approach your dating life. A lot of men and women are afraid to go out there and meet someone because they don't know how to vet them. They don't know what questions to ask. They don't know what signs to look for. They don't know what things that they should look for in that person's behavior, that they should be aware of. Sometimes people think this is a red flag or that's a red flag. They don't even have a fundamental understanding. And by the way, I have a video about red flags, which I will link down below in the description, that you can learn from. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is because when you hear stories of breakups, divorce, cheating, such as this email we're going to get into in a minute, a lot of people think that this is something that you can't change, that it's out of your control. And the reality is, you can decide, because you are responsible for the quality of woman that you choose. Men, there are red flags that you will always spot at the beginning. And if you turn a blind eye to it, there's a price to pay for that. You just have to raise your standard, fill in your knowledge gap, and all of this will never happen to you. Sounds quite good, doesn't it? Well, this young man has learned the lesson the hard way, and now he's in a position to humble himself. He's willing to learn, and moving forward, he'll be able to make better choices. But all of you watching can learn from his mistakes so that in your decision to find someone, this will never happen to you. Or if it has happened to you, it's not going to happen again. So with that said, we're going to get right into it. And for those of you who are new here, welcome to Relearning Relationships. My name is Christian and I teach men to master relationships righteously. And if you are serious about looking for mentorship, coaching, and you'd like to learn more about relationships, link down below in the description as well. Now, I'm going to keep his name private and refer to him as Jimmy, as I usually do with these emails. So let's begin. He says, my name is Jimmy. I'm from Poland. I moved to the UK when I was 19. He's 27 now. And I was with my ex for 9 years. This is background on him. We bought a house. We moved in. And after 2 years, she betrayed me to a different guy and moved out from our house and lived with him for 2 years. She split from him to another guy. And because of the house that we shared, we still had contact via WhatsApp, but I blocked her on social media. I wasn't perfect from her side. I was aggressive. I would have put her down. I was jealous, but she wasn't perfect either. I was exhausted from her behavior and I couldn't leave. I closed myself away in my room. playing video games just to avoid contact with her. Everything she did was about making a bad mood. I come from a house where my mother didn't do that. She was a very caring person. My father was working all the time. After this split, so he eventually walked away from this girl, I took my lesson, healed, went to the psychologist, took time from relationships, and I knew what I was doing before I needed to fix it. I met someone for 3 months, then realized it's not who I would like to be, who I would want to be the mother of my children in the future. So it's better to split and walk away. I took another 6 months to heal while working on myself, my mind, and going to the gym. And all of this changed in November 2022. So this is when he meets the girl he just broke up with. So this is some background on him. So he already has had a relationship in the past where he was betrayed. Very painful stuff. Was with the wrong woman. Luckily, he didn't get married, didn't have kids, still young. But then he moves on. He says he's done some work on himself, which he has, but he still has a knowledge gap on relationships. He still can't rightly divide between a godly woman and an immoral woman. So what happens? Now he meets this girl. About my ex, the recent ex, so let's call her Jessica. Jimmy and Jessica. She's 24. From Bulgaria, moves to the UK 3 years ago to be with her ex. Kind of similar to Jimmy then, right? He moves from Poland to the UK, moves in with this girl, doesn't work out. She has a similar history. Very interesting. And this is some background on her family situation. So the mother and father are both alcoholics. The older sister came from a different father. Her mother left and then came back to her father after she was born. She was told by her own mother that she regrets that she was born. And even when speaking with her father on the phone, she would rage. And the way they would speak about her is as if they were against her. When she was young, she was also beaten up by her own mother while she was drunk. She was in the hospital for a month and then a shelter. She was bullied at school, and she was not raised in good company. I know that when she was young, she met with guys that were much older than her and her friend. Her friend was having sex with 5 different guys in one day. And after our breakup, so now he's talking about his actual relationship with her. After they actually broke up, she said, now I can be single to work on myself because I wasn't single for 7 years and I've got time for it, right? So she was for 3 years with a previous guy. So that was the guy she moved with from the UK originally. And he said, I'm going to put some information later, but I'm not going to say too much publicly. Yeah, so basically she stole a few things from him as well. So this girl's not just a liar and a cheater, but she stole a lot of personal items of Jimmy. Crazy stuff, right? And so now we get into the beginning, right? So as you guys can see, he grew up in a more or less good environment, had a knowledge gap, still willing to learn. His ex cheated on him. He wanted to learn. When you look at Jessica, she grew up in a really screwed up environment, and she's around bad people. She's had a long-term relationship. This is what he knew from her at the beginning. More's going to come out now. But ultimately, I will tell you guys this, and I do mention this in a lot of my case studies. This is why I ask people to write in about the background, to show you something. The background matters to a degree. And that degree is that most people don't change or grow. Meaning, if they're surrounded by degenerate family members, degenerate friends, that's usually who they're going to be. There are certain cases where people grow up in screwed up homes, terrible friends environment, and they change completely. Why? Because they take accountability. And they say to themselves, I'm never going to be like mum and dad. I'm never going to be like my friends. I want better. I want to find love. It's time for me to learn and grow. And this is why you always have to ask guys, and for the gals listening when you meet a guy, about their background, about their past, about their relationships to their family and friends. Because you get an idea of what they grew up with, and then you can ask them quality questions. How did this affect you? How has this changed your outlook on love or relationships? And see what they respond. Because there are people who are bitter and they hold a vengeance against their family and friends from their childhood, and they never grow out from that. So they have all this dysfunction and they bleed on you. They can't love you because they can't love themselves. They're holding on to the past. Very important stuff. You need to have verbal and real life confirmation in their actions that they have forgiven people of their past, if they had a bad family, that they have grown from it, that they have learned from their mistakes. Because a lot of people don't. I'm not going to ask about their family or their past because it's rude. Wrong. You got to ask. You got to know everything. If you're going to become one flesh, you have a right to know everything about them. How else are you going to come together and marry and create life together? These are very important things in life, gentlemen. So guys, getting into her past is always important, looking at her family. But it's how she responds to it, which is key. If she grew up in a really bad environment, but she looked at that and said, that's not going to be me, I'm going to be different, perfect. As long as that adds up to her words and actions, perfect. Because some girls will tell you, oh, I've changed, I'm not like mum and dad. But then they are just like mum and dad are screwed up. So you've got to be mindful of this. So don't cut someone off right away because they say, my mum or my dad was screwed up or they grew up in a broken home. Most people grow up in a broken home now. And slowly but surely, more and more young people are turning away from that and they're looking to learn and get answers elsewhere. So I understand where he's coming from. So guys, you always want to be mindful of that. How did she learn? How did she grow? How did it affect her? And how did you respond to those early years? Because there are people who have had terrible things happen to them in their childhood, abused in many ways. They've had worse things even happen, right? And then they still turn out to be wonderful people, loving people, loyal people, because they chose to be different. What choices have you made? Now that we've got the backgrounds out of the way, this is how they met. They met at his workplace in 2022. And again, most people actually meet at the workplace nowadays, statistically speaking. And also most people cheat with someone at the workplace. Do with that information as you will. She was a pretty girl. She looked a little bit sad and lost, but I noticed something weird. The red flags start right at the beginning, don't they? Once she started working, she was going around guys, flirting with everyone, even to men that were much older than she was. She's seeking attention, which tells me very low self-esteem. And she's willing to put herself in an environment where she's that close to men, and she's the one being very overt and forward in her flirting. That's the sign of a woman that has a promiscuous heart. She's been around a lot of men. She's been touched and fondled. So her being that close and that sensual with men doesn't affect her because she's lost her purity. Some of them even came to me, the men, and said to me, it looks like she's looking for someone, but she has a boyfriend. She even said to a girl at work that everyone is interested in her, flirting with her. So she's delusional as well. So first and foremost, a lot of the guys are wary of her because she's flirting with everyone and she's known to have a boyfriend. Right here and there, this should be the end of your story. You guys see what I mean? This isn't like a red flag that you find out after 2-3 weeks of digging, right? 'Cause people can lie with a few things, but it comes out. This is very in your face, day one that you see. Makes you think, doesn't it? This is why when I get these emails from guys and they tell me like they couldn't see it coming, I don't know why she cheated on me. I'm like, tell me everything. Tell me from the beginning, and there's always something. Ladies and gentlemen, there it is. So, let's carry on. This was a red flag for me, and I wasn't interested in her at all. So again, Jimmy, you're telling me this was a red flag, but yet you continued on. For 2 months, I had no contact with her until one day, she approached me when I was talking with one of our friends from work. She was asking a lot of questions about my life, and I was willing to go back, if I was willing to go back to my country in a year, and at the time, none of this bothered her. Then we were talking more and more at work, daily, sitting together, on the breaks, playing table tennis. But I saw that she was trying to impress me, flirt with me, with her looks, even on purpose doing small touches under my arm. Everything started, and she was kind of playing the victim about her boyfriend and her life. And I told her that, is it true if she has a boyfriend? And she said yes. And she also said, if you want to message me after work, you can do it. So for the guys out there who have a girl and she's cheating on you at work, or ladies, your man cheats on you with the girl, no one forces them into it. This is the crap that they're doing. They're getting close, they're playing the victim. So she's giving you basically a playbook on and a look into the future of what to expect if you were to commit to this girl. Things don't go well in your relationship, she's not going to dump you and heal. She's going to go to work and flirt with every guy and find the guy who's going to give her a chance. She's doing it to him, she's going to do it to you. The signs, it's written on the wall. Come on now. Very obvious stuff. But I know there's always new viewers watching my channel. There's young men and there's people who've never been in a relationship, and that's a good thing. If you're young and you're single and you're a virgin, find a good woman, or ladies, find a good man. Keep your purity. Don't waste. You're not supposed to waste years of your life in a shit relationship like this, hurting yourself, damaging yourself. This is unnecessary. This is unbiblical. But this is what happens when we have a generation of men and women that don't know how to love, that are not raised to be husbands or wives. They don't know how to court. They don't know how to vet. They don't take this super serious. They maybe use a bit of logic and reason, and then it reverts back to lust. Because there's no elders, there's no members in the community or parents that are teaching their sons and daughters that this is what's more important. Not your work, not your career, not your job, but marriage, but family, but community, but who you choose to share your life with. This is the decision that's going to affect everything else. And if you get this wrong, you screw everything else up by default. You see how bad this is? He knew from the beginning it's a red flag, but because he just kept talking with her, she slowly chiseled her way in. If you're a single guy and a chick like this comes up to you and you see what she's doing, you just turn the other way and you keep your mouth shut and you don't talk with them. That's why a woman comes up to me, get out of my way, I've got a woman, not interested, gone, don't talk to me. It really is that simple. You've got to have strict boundaries, guys. See how it starts? Innocent conversation. How are you? How's your day? Start talking, opening up more. You can message me if you want. This is how it goes. Then she starts telling me how bad her boyfriend is. That he's controlling. That he has a girl on the side. That he's splitting all bills 50-50. That he drinks every day. That they don't even sleep together anymore. That they're together but it's already kind of finished. She was also saying that they were going to get married, but last minute she cancelled. She says that she wants someone normal, someone who wants to spend life nicely without any problems and drama. And at first, sounded exactly like what I was looking for. And I was kind of trying to make her talk with her boyfriend to sort things out, to find solutions to her problems. But she said that she tried and it didn't work out. Then there was a rush from her side, asking me lots of questions about my life, what I wanted. Then she kept agreeing, saying that she wanted something similar. She was asking about my past and I would answer her. But when I started to ask questions about her side, she just flirted with me. That after 2 weeks of talking, she'd send me pictures of herself, like provocative sexual pictures. And I got so spicy in the messages that even the way we were looking at each other at work later on were weird, but it was a nice feeling. At the time, I would start to think to myself that I'm getting attached to a cheater. Yeah, you are. The Bible warns against this. Does it not? A man who commits adultery to another man's wife, like taints his soul, I believe the verse is. Someone's going to have to correct me on that. I don't know that one off the top of my head. But it's great, it's really, really bad stuff. Because sure, she's a cheater, she's committed. But you know she has a boyfriend. It's not like you didn't know and she kept it from you and you find out after weeks or months. You knew day one this girl's got a boyfriend. You kept chatting with her. Going to a psychologist isn't going to help you with this stuff. Do you know how I know this? Because I have had about 50 to 60 men over the last couple years, not at the beginning, but the last 2 years. They're going to psychologists. They're going to all these therapists. They don't get any results. Because a psychologist or therapist isn't going to teach you this stuff, how to find a good woman, the actual action steps you should be taking to heal. Because they don't talk about the soul, they don't talk about the spirit, they don't come to God's righteousness and the blueprint of how you should live. That's what they're lacking. There's a lot of value in psychology. There's a lot you can learn, and I think it's important. But the relationship stuff, you got to get that right, and they're not going to teach you that. I know a lot of people that've been going to psychologists, therapists, paying a lot of money, and they're stuck in the same place. Nothing changes. And you said you did all this work on yourself, and yet here you are, getting close to a girl who's cheating on her boyfriend. That is on you. And as I said at the beginning of the video, you're responsible for the quality of woman you choose. You're not a victim. Don't put a gun to your head. There's red flags that you overlooked. And because of that, they start to flash like deal breakers in the end. Okay? If the light starts flashing in your car and you ignore it, it doesn't make the light go away. Something is going to eventually break down. That's exactly what's going to happen here. Continuing on, she said that she was going to leave him and that if I wanted to start something normal with her. But because I got close to her, I was feeling like she might be my soulmate. Not a good choice. This is a red flag, but I thought, why not? She was living with him, but still managed to chat with me all day long, and that's crazy. So she knows, again, more insight into how she works. She knows how to play this cheating game because she's a cheater. She lives with this guy and she's finding the time to text you and call you and send you all these, well, not call you, but send you all these provocative messages that are inappropriate. Then she wanted to go for coffee with me during that time, but I refused, as for what we were doing was already unacceptable. But the attention she gave me was like, it never happened to me before. So January, I believe this is January 2023, so last year, she went to Bulgaria with her boyfriend and they ended their relationship there. And while she was still living in the UK, she's obviously looking for someone to move in. I have my house, but I agreed with my ex, who's the 50-50 owner, that because we sell it, before we sold it, that no girl would ever live in this house while she was still paying half the money. Fair enough from her end. And the first day, this Jessica came back from Bulgaria, we met for coffee. It was an amazing experience, both of us were happy. And I felt like I won the lottery, like an obsessed person. Oh, well, you didn't win anything. You won a one-way ticket to pain. The next day we went for a date and we finished in bed, doing the things from the conversations we said earlier. And this was her idea after a day. So again, you have a girl here who's willing to sleep with you right away. With everything else included, it goes without saying, this girl's not suitable for marriage. But at this point in time, you are messing around with a girl who's doing this stuff, which also makes you, in many ways, just as bad as her. I know that's harsh for you to hear, but it's the truth. Because if you understood relationships and you really could separate godly women from immoral women, this wouldn't happen. And that's only going to happen if you're a godly man yourself. And if you get your values screwed on. And at the end of the day, you come to the right place. I'm here to help. And this is going to be hard for you to hear. But these are mistakes that you shouldn't be making anymore, Jimmy. At your age, now 27, you want to find a good woman. A woman you can love. You said your mother was a wonderful, caring, sweet girl. That's the quality of woman you want in your life. Not some girl like this. You're hurting yourself doing this. But sometimes when you're in a painful situation, it's the only time that you're going to learn. The hard way is the only way for a lot of people. So again, you've hooked up with her, and a week after her boyfriend noticed she was meeting someone else, kicked her out the house, and abused her in a physical way. I took her to my place, even though I shouldn't have done that. I told her about my ex and the deal, and to not share it with her. and to not share it with anyone while she's, at work or whatever. But she told someone on the first day, and then lying to me that she didn't say anything. So again, she can't keep her word. She's a cheater. I mean, it all adds up. This is who she is. In a week's time, she moved in with a friend to rent a room. And what I was expecting from her as a girlfriend or maybe wife one day, there were still questions as well about what sort of marriage I prefer, how many kids, to be loyal, honest, and respect me. He says, I'm not a guy who wants a woman for cleaning, cooking, like a housewife, if anything. We just split and support each other. So again, do you want to date a man or a woman? Do you want a godly, feminine, traditional woman that's going to support you and be your helpmate? Or do you want a 50-50? Yes, you can help out too. There's nothing wrong with that. You can and you should. I surely do. Sometimes you have to. But you've got to get the roles right. Man to woman. And we are different biologically and we have different needs. Well, we have a different way of thinking. We are masculine at our core and women are feminine at their core. We complement each other. It's meant to be complementary. And again, all of this ties in. You don't want a traditional woman that's going to be a housewife, but you're okay with dating a girl who's cheating on her boyfriend to be with you, who's okay with working outside the home, who's going to raise the kids. This girl's cheating on you. She's a liar. How would you trust her even to raise your children, let alone even manage a home? But like you said, you don't want a woman for that. You don't want a woman to take care of those things. Who's going to nurture you? Who's going to take care of you? Obviously, you've had to be independent for many years, but once you're married, you're connected for life. There's no more Mr. or Miss Independent. It's together forever. And you need to find a woman that's going to love you and support you and take care of you and find joy in nurturing you. Again, email me about that. I'll help you with that. So that was January 2023. Now, February to July of 2023. I like how you put the emails, throughout the email you separated all the information. But again, all of this stuff that Jimmy's mentioning for you guys listening, it's like you see all these problems with this girl and then you haven't even asked her these questions about what do you want about children, what do you want about marriage, which is again another problem a lot of young people do. I will talk about these things later when we get more serious. Wrong. You talk about these things at the beginning, day one, so that you don't waste time with someone incompatible with you. But by now, your feelings are involved. This woman's not wife material. No, she's not. But you're trying to convince yourself that, well, hopefully if she compromises and agrees with some of these values, I can give her a chance. So, February to July 2023, Jimmy says, I'm just going to quickly say about this time period. I'm a very caring person, loyal, and I don't accept any kind of lying to my face. Well, she lied to you at the beginning, and you got involved with a girl who's cheating on her boyfriend. Would you like to be with a girl? Would you like it if your girl was cheating on you with a different man? Of course not. That guy's just as guilty if he knows about you, right? That's what you were doing. Remember that. That has to change. So you're caring, loyal, you don't accept lying to your face, and that I would like to get that back. It was a very nice period of time to be nice and to be real, but it seemed a little bit fake and sad. She said, I love you in the first 2 weeks. Totally didn't expect it. I said, it's too early for me to say it, but I'll show it in my actions and my present behavior. When I'm ready, I'm going to say it. And I did say it after 3 months. Now, usually, if you love someone, well, to develop love on a normal, healthy, stable relationship, anywhere between a month and a half to 2 months for most men and women. But in this case, you're dealing with a cheater, so it took you longer. But in her case, it's not normal. In 2 weeks, and she just cheated on the boyfriend to be with you, doesn't know anything about you, but she's dating you. What can you do? What can you do with these people? So, let's continue on. I spend all my time off from work with her, and that's completely normal. If you do love someone, you're going to spend a lot of your time to bond with them. But again, because obviously the people watching this are all going to be shaking their head like, what was he thinking? She wanted all my time, all my attention, but for me, it was too much for the beginning. Sometimes I didn't even want to hug or kiss her anymore, but I didn't want to say anything to hurt her. I think that was the biggest bad thing I did in the relationship. She had very clingy behavior from her side. She would like to see me in person or out of work every day, chatting all the time like I was feeling already overwhelmed. I already had my routine. Wake up, breakfast, gym, prepare food for the rest of the day, then go to work. Between that, I was 24/7 on my mobile, chatting with her, sending pictures as a reassurance with what I'm doing, with wherever, whatever. So most of the time we were meeting on our days off, between 1 to 3 days during the week, which I think is enough. Well, for the guys watching, if you have a good woman in your life, who's healthy, who's normal in the head, who's not a cheater, and she wants to spend all of her free time with you, that's just what's going to happen. You grow closer and closer to each other. And if you really love this girl, you should naturally want to spend all of your free time with her whenever you're available, outside of your friends and your hobbies, of course. But the point is, you grow closer and closer until both become each other's priority. If not, how else are you going to love each other, honor each other, and get married? So if you're feeling overwhelmed, she's not right for you. And that's the reality. If this woman was the woman of your dreams, you'd love to spend all your time with her. Now, obviously, there is the exception where people, they have attachment issues and they want to spend all their time with the other person without truly getting to know them at the beginning because they have something to hide, they have bad intentions, and they have to love bomb you. You see this with a lot of narcissists, Jezebels, and cheaters. Because in her case, she's saying, I love you, doesn't know anything about you. She's cheating on you, on her man to be with you, spends all her time with you. You're just the next guy she's jumping to. So she's all up in her emotions. There's nothing loving or pure about what she's doing. And there's nothing wrong with sending a WhatsApp, hey, what are you up to? How's your day? I'm just checking in. This is what I'm up to. That's completely fine. So in your situation, I get that what's happening with this girl is wrong, but you have to see this as a warning sign. If you don't like the girl, you don't love her, you don't want to spend time with her or as much time with her. And for the guys watching, if you were the good woman, your woman should be making a strong effort like that. Your woman should want all of you. That's just natural. Because again, you telling me your routine, Jimmy, that you get up, do your breakfast, you want a wife. If you want someone you're going to spend the rest of your life with, it's not about you anymore. It's not about your routine. What about her routine? You become part of each other's lives. Take that for the future. But with this woman, obviously not, because she's not right for you. I was still thinking in the back of my mind of what she was doing for the last 2 months during her previous relationship. And I was feeling like it's going to happen one day or another. Obviously, of course it's going to happen. I caught her lying 2 more times. And the last one was so bad that I didn't even want to talk to her that time. After work, she took a taxi to come to my house. And I drove her back to her place and spoke with her a little about lying again. And that we agreed about this at the start of our relationship, to be honest. And I won't judge you for it, just be honest. So again, you're having all these problems with this woman. But again, it was written on the wall from the beginning. Most of our days off, we would just go to the gym, come back, cook. Most of the time she was too tired or sleeping, so I was going by myself. I would wake her up whenever she was not in the mood. I realized in time that she's getting so many messages, and when it was a sister or her roommate, she had no problem to tell me about it. But sometimes there are a lot of text messages that were disappearing while she was going to smoke or go to the toilet. And I know I shouldn't go all the way, but with my ego, I was using words to tease her. Yo, is that your boyfriend texting you? And she would hate that. It happened a few times while she was next to me. She was very personal with her phone, didn't use it next to me after 4.5 months of dating, but I never asked her to show me anything. But again, you knew how this was going to play out. And there's a reason you felt that way. You asked yourself, how is this girl always texting me and sending me all these messages? She lives with her boyfriend. Now she's doing the same thing to you, to the next guy. For those few months, I was feeling bad. I wanted to say no to her, that these things would affect me, especially financially. I have a car, but I never ever dropped it to the airport as my car needed some fixing, but I instead found a close friend of mine to drop her off and pick her up. Well, those are things you should get sorted because you still want to be the man and do things right, and you're just letting everyone else take care of her. She also wanted me to go badly with her to a country to meet her parents in the first month, but I thought, oh no, it's too early. Look, I met my girl's parents within a month and a half. She met my parents the same range within a month. But in our case, there's no red flags like this. There's chemistry, there's compatibility. And I'm saying this to prove a point. When you have vetted a woman accurately and you know she's right for you, it doesn't take too long to just move forward with these things. There's nothing to hide. You would want to proudly present this person to people in your life. Now, in her case, she's only going to present you to her parents to satisfy her ego because she's screwed up and a cheater, as you know. But again, this is the sort of woman that you wouldn't even want to present to your parents, right? So with different situations, it's different situations, right? In my case, it was completely fine to do that because everything's fine. In your situation, you shouldn't have presented it to anyone. You should have said to her, good riddance, you know. You say do widzenia is Polish and that's it. Off she goes. And yes, I'm saying that in Polish because he's Polish, I'm half Polish, right? But again, for those of you watching, oh, should I present her to my parents in your situation or vice versa? Hey, if the girl's right for you, she's got good values, take them. Oftentimes your parents can give you insight, even if they don't have the best relationship. On an outsider's perspective, they can look at her energy, they can gauge her behavior, see if there's anything weird about her. You can always tell with those things. As long as you've got good parents, of course. Unfortunately, not everybody has that, so I understand why sometimes some people might not even want to present the person they're courting to their parents, relative to your situation. Continuing on with the case study. So, again, she wanted to meet his parents, and he thought it was too early. Then I noticed she would get Snapchats from some dude, even though she said she's not using Snapchat. And I even took a picture of it so I had proof. I later on checked and I started to come back from holiday and I have pictures of her mobile screen, of course locked. I couldn't see anything specific. But there were two different numbers that messaged her, Snapchat and Instagram notifications. Of course, there was love bombing, sometimes a few times a day for hours. So I didn't have a problem with it at all. She would tell me a lot of things, that I'm nice, that I'm handsome. She likes everything about me, even my insecurities. We would go to the cinema often, watch movies at home. But we never had a holiday. She needed to go to Bulgaria to get braces fixed on her teeth. And I was in Poland as well, visiting my family. I noticed that my finances were going down. I had a loan, I had a lot of things I needed to take care of. And I was paying for everything. But while we were together and dating, she never even offered to pay once. Once, on purpose, I didn't take anything for myself from the shop. And I was packing everything in the bag while she was waiting for me to pay. Then after a few seconds, she finally took a card and paid, but it was forced, it was weird. It would just be nice to have a gesture, as I'm a guy who doesn't like when a woman pays. So I told her that we need to have a deal for something like this. Once me, once you. Or cinema, I buy the tickets, you buy the snacks, as we earn the same amount of money from work. I want to add here that I have a car, insurance, loans, mortgage, gym, everything else I have to pay for, and I can still manage to save. While she has none of this and no money. She doesn't buy herself any personal things, She doesn't go anywhere by herself. She took out a loan and she managed to lose that money as well. So again, she didn't manage to save anything for 5 months and lost more money. I don't know where. And then something else happened from her side. And then something else happened. I started to notice that something wasn't right, but she was trying to behave as before, very loving, very caring, giving me attention, but then it retracted. So again, in this situation, you have to look at the variables. She's not good with money, so she's terrible at accountability. She's a liar and she's a cheater. See how all these things connect? She's not willing to learn, she's not willing to grow. You've been with her now for a while and she never offers to pay. There's no thank you, there's no I'm grateful for you, there's no kind gesture. Gentlemen, you have to find a woman that's a giver, a woman that loves you. Look at Jimmy's situation. I get where you're coming from. It's the gesture that matters. Yes, as the man, especially if you want to be a husband, you pay. And the whole point is when you start dating a girl, when you go to pay on the first date, it's a gesture that shows two things. Number one, I like you. And number two, I am able to invest financially because I'm stable. That's what it shows. And on the woman's end, she's supposed to say, thank you, I really appreciate that. And something I always teach guys to look for is when you start dating, she's not your girlfriend, she's not your fiance, she's not your wife. So you don't actually owe her anything. And especially now women work and can make money, or they've received money from family, whatever. How does she respond when you go to pay? Is she thankful? And does she at least look in her bag and offer, can I pay? It's the first date, can I try and take you out? You want a girl that wants to invest in you as well. That shows you she's a giver. That's always the test. Seen it with my girl from day one. First date, she tried to do that. Can I pay? It's like, no. After a few dates, I finally let her pay once because she kept asking. And even to this day, after a year, she buys me things, she spoils me, bakes every week, cooks, takes good care of me. She handcraft makes things for me. You know, even when I go to pay for things, she asks me, she says thank you, right? But she also says, is it okay? Can I pay you back? Can I give you anything back? Why? That's a woman that's a giver. That's a woman that's grateful for what you have, for what you give her. And she gives back in her own way. Obviously, she offers as well. That's what you want. Not some woman like this who you've been together all this time and she just expects it of you. You're not her husband. Who is she to take everything from you? Yes, it's kind of you to be the gentleman and offer to pay. But the whole point is, you only feel comfortable doing that to a woman that shows she's grateful, a woman who gives back. Yes, once you're married and you make good money, you take care of her financially and you can pay for everything, right? Same thing goes. Is that wife of yours appreciative? And that's what you want to figure out when you're dating her. Not when you're married and wake up one day and realize you're with a gold digger that doesn't say thank you, that doesn't give you anything back. You don't want to be with a taker like this, guys. This is wrong on so many levels. But that's the test. When you take the girl on the first few dates, does she ever offer to pay? Does she even say, can I get the drinks? Can I get the coffee? Hey, I'll invite you back to my place and I'll cook you something. Does she offer to do anything like that? Come on, guys, you got to choose a good woman here. This is completely unacceptable. You know, obviously I don't like my girl paying either. I always say no. Sometimes on special occasions, I'll let her spoil me, fine, whatever, here and there. Because it's a good refresher that you're with a woman that's a giver. And if she's not going to pay financially, guys, what other ways does she give back to you? And is she at least appreciative? So again, we're still in the February, July section of his email. So she comes back from a holiday and she was in contact with me all the time, calling me, messaging me, video call. I have no problem with it. I was spending time with my family and I wanted her to meet them. So I invited her over for Christmas and she was very happy for it. And I was getting up at 5 a.m. in the evenings talking to her. And sometimes I'd wake up and fall asleep 3 to 4 hours because I was exhausted. I guess she thought it was something different. She had a fear of abandonment, ? Yeah, because she's a cheater and she knows what she's doing to you and she thinks you're going to do the same thing back to her. So she has that fear. I came back and I saw more messages popping up on her phone, but I was quiet about it. Okay, then we get into the next section of the email. So now we get into the rest of 2023. In August was her birthday. Didn't do much, bought her a cake, spent time together. She already was kind of cold to me, like distancing herself, but all the time meeting me, doing everything as earlier, even saying I love you, but something was off. In September, again, everything was similar, but I noticed that there was already someone else in the background. She didn't chat with me the way she used to. She always said she needed to do this, needed to do that. And I started to be more interested in what was going on, trying not to show her that as well. So now you're like a detective, you know something's wrong. She was sending me pictures every day, and all of a sudden it stopped. So this is another thing, guys, for you watching. When someone's cheating on you and they get close to someone else, they distance themselves from you. It's just human behavior. This is why when you're with someone who's loyal, they're consistent every single day because there's nothing to hide. They are who they say they are. They show up consistently. October 2023. She went to Bulgaria again, but before, she was chatting to me while she was there, always finding that time to reply to me. But this time, it was different. She was active all the time on her messenger, stopped responding to my messages. I asked her all about her online activity, and as if I knew that there was someone already. But she was still showing me that love and care. 3 days before she came back, she went to sleep, but during the night, I saw her active on Instagram and Facebook. I asked her why was she awake. She didn't respond for an hour, but she was still active. So I called her 2 times. She didn't respond. I thought maybe I'm overreacting, but that activity is accurate. And it's not going to show if you're not using your phone because I checked many times. It's true. After 2.5 hours, she calls me back on video call. And what did she do? She shows me her room and that she's in bed sleeping and that she got so mad that I was calling her. She didn't talk to me for the next 2 days till she came back. That's really nice. That's exactly the sort of woman you want to marry, right? Damn, that's so bad. And I went to her house straight away to talk. She didn't like it, putting the blame on me. And again, this is what cheaters do. Some cheaters don't dump you, they wait for you to dump them. And they do certain things to upset you and get you to trigger them. And then they use that as now they have a reason to dump you because you've behaved out of line. Right? But again, all of this was predictable from the beginning. She was a cheater. She's been a cheater through and through. And guys, this is why you have to vet. Tell me about your past relationships. How long were you single for? Why did your last relationship end? If you think something doesn't add up, leave. In this case, he was working with her. She was flirting with all the guys, flirting with men much older than her. Then she's flirting with him, sleeping with him right away. And now after a few months, she disappears because she found another guy. Cheaters don't respect you. They don't respect themselves. They don't respect God Almighty. They have no respect for anything. They are selfish monsters. They need help. But you're not going to be the one to help them. Stop trying to fix or turn damaged women into wives. Find a woman who's done the work on herself. Not a woman like this. And Jimmy's actually in my relationship community. I've seen his profile picture. Good looking guy, strong, handsome man. Don't throw that away for some hoe. You need a wake up call here. All the stuff she's doing, guys, look at this. Now she's freaking out. What would a sweet girl do? She'd call you back and she'd explain to you, oh, I fell asleep, my phone wasn't on. I'll give you something that would make sense. But she wouldn't be angry at you, right? Why would she be angry at you if she's not doing anything wrong? Then, at the end of October, I already heard from a mutual friend that she wants to break up with me because I'm controlling her. And that I have a side girl, apparently. So now she's accusing him. Another thing cheaters do. They accuse you of what they're doing to deflect blame, guilt, and shame, which they will never be able to get away with until they actually repent. Long story short, I have 2 girlfriends. These are girls that I've never done anything with, and I've been clear with them from the beginning. I've known them for years, and they're just someone who I talk to whenever they message me. But again, I've been upfront with her from the beginning about this because I've got nothing to hide. Fair enough. I know there's exceptions. Some people have friends from an early age. Fine, I personally don't do it. I just cut the line, no girlfriends. I just don't do that. I know some people do. There's exceptions where it works, but that usually fades. When you get serious with someone, you love that person fades, you know? So again, out of nowhere, he says, I was obsessed and I could see that love and care and that spark in her eyes was gone. She came to my house and said, I want to break up with you. And the reasons were that she wants to go back to Bulgaria in 5 years. And I just asked, could you show me your messenger? She blocked the mobile, blocked me, and then said, I need to tell you something and I will explain it to you. And I said, first of all, show me. And I said, I already know that there's a guy from work. And she said, it's not what you think. I was just going for breaks with him at work. It's just simple messages with him. But these were messages from the same day before the break at work. These were conversations like she used to have with me from the very beginning. Of course, all the earlier messages were deleted and I didn't believe her at first because I found something else that gave me all the answers that I needed. So again, what did we say at the beginning of the email? When you met her, how she's talking with you is the same thing she's going to be doing to the next guy. And there you go. She monkey bunched before and she was about to do it again. People at work were already looking at her as if she was a slut. And she was worried about her reputation. So I dropped her off at home and she said she's going to think about us. The next day she said we could try to continue. Again, there's nothing to continue. Tell her. Next. She became cold. No emotions towards me. Less time for me. Still saying her pretend I love you stuff. Oh, that's cute, isn't it? She said she's not going to talk to him anymore. And she promised me on her mother's name. And I said to her, fine, if that's the case, we can make it better. So again, he left to Poland for 2 days. She didn't talk to him for a few more days. When he got back, he asked to see her again. And I bet his best friend told him that he saw her with a new guy walking together. I met with her again and she had a lot to tell me. I brought up the idea that my friend saw her and I said, how was that possible? And she said, oh, I met this guy by accident. He said, okay, so gaslighting is her second name. Yeah, it is. She lies so much she can't even tell what's true anymore. She's delusional. I asked her about WhatsApp, being on her phone, like texting. And I said to her that you promised me on your mother's name that you're not going to talk to this guy anymore. But she kept telling me for 2 hours that she didn't talk with him, that she kept her word. And then she changed her mind and said, oh, but I was texting him, but I just blocked him and deleted the messages, yeah. And I said to her, you did it to your ex, and now you're doing it to me. But she was begging me to stay, that she was going to prove to me that she's not going to do that anymore. So I gave her another chance. She became emotionally distant, walking on eggshells, depressed, anxious. And she spent as much time as she could next to me, not using her phone. She was very scared to pick up her phone. She kept trying to show me messages anytime she got a notification to prove to me that she was loyal. Then eventually, I saw her phone. And there were more messages from the guy, which she then deleted. So I told her, pack your stuff and get lost. She then started to be aggressive, said that she's not talking with him, that he's not even her type. I never raised my voice to her. I never did anything wrong to her. I just took my lessons from my relationship before, and I told her that what you're doing to me is emotional cheating, which is true. She betrayed you emotionally. She said, how many people did you tell that I cheated on you? That I cheated on you with him? So now she's not even sad or broken that she betrayed you. She's more concerned that you've told everyone that she cheated on you, because she cares about her reputation. If everybody knows she's a cheater at work, she doesn't have any more guys to pick from. She'll have to find someone else who doesn't know what she's like. Because now she can't sell the story. Oh, my boyfriend's treating me bad. Remember what she said about her ex. Oh, he's controlling, he's bad to me. Which obviously he was to a degree, which is true. But again, that's the lie she sold. So you felt empathy for her. You've done nothing wrong to her. From your email, and I've spoken to you, right, in back and forth in the messages, I know you've been faithful. Even though the relationship didn't start out how it should have, you've been loyal to her. You've done nothing wrong. She can't use that excuse now and say that you're a cheater, you've treated her badly. She probably will anyway, though. She's more concerned that, how many people did you tell that I've cheated on you emotionally with? We spent more time together, again, a big mistake, and she didn't want to repost pictures with me on Instagram. But before, at the beginning, she'd always post everything. Yeah, because she doesn't want her next guy to see. One day I told her it's easier to catch you cheating on me, to catch you on Instagram than on Messenger. So Facebook Messenger, Instagram chat, because she's, not responding to the messages. I spoke with her. Again, now we're getting to the end of the situation. I mean, this is a crazy one. I asked her how she thinks and how she feels about me. And she says, I think you're honest, loyal, problem-solving, handsome, ambitious, caring, and smart. So then I said, so what is missing? Or what am I doing wrong? And she said, there is, but I can't tell you. So she breaks up with me again. I can't give you what you want. I don't deserve to be loved. I have no feelings inside of me at all. When you need something, I'll be there for you. When someone tells you who they are, believe them. She's telling you the truth. She doesn't deserve to be loved, which is true. Not by you at least. She needs Christ. She needs help. I can't give you what you want, which is true. And that I want to break up, which is true. I have no feelings inside of me at all, which is true. This is who she has always been. She feels guilty now. She can't find fault in you. You've done nothing wrong. So now she has to just tell you in a direct way. My psychologist was aware about all the things going on. He advised me to somehow try to make her see a good psychologist, or even himself. She was willing to do that, but later she was just telling me that I need a psychologist and she doesn't. She's a narcissistic, yeah. People that have NPD, or it's on a spectrum, they run higher on that, lack of empathy, lack of sympathy. It's very difficult to get them to get help. Because if they're not humbled, they're not in a state to receive help. Because they think there's nothing wrong with them. No accountability. And again, I don't know if you're going to show this video to a psychologist. If you do, or you message him, I'm going to say right now, I believe your psychologist is right in telling her that she should get help. But you should dump her. You should have walked away a long time ago. There is no working it out with this girl. It's you're done. You're done with this monster of a woman. You're done. I said to her, do you love me? She said, I have feelings for you, but I don't love you. She's telling you the truth. She has a feeling of attachment because she's been around you. She doesn't love you. She doesn't know how to love. She's a bad woman. So she broke up with me and I dropped her off at home. Now we're kind of getting to the end of the situation here. It's a long case study, guys, but look, if you watch this all the way through, this could definitely help you from ever being in a situation like this. Now, so he drops her off at home. She goes on her Facebook And she did the exact same thing with her ex, changed her story and said a status saying, now I can do what I want. He couldn't stand it, reaches out to her again. They get back together for a little bit longer. And he saw someone spamming her on her Instagram again. And he sent a message to this guy from his phone saying, is it you spamming her on Instagram? Then no more messages. So I thought that I was accurate. Then she comes to me crying, showing me her phone, that there's nothing on Instagram, that it's just notifications. She's a gaslight queen. Then we spent more time together after that, but she was still cold. I offered her to go to a party. We went to a party. She said, don't expect anything from me. Then we were intimate again, back and forth, back and forth. During that time, I went to Poland. I came back. Then she went to a friend's party, and I just told her, have fun, have a good time. And then she was telling me that she spent all day cooking, eating and drinking beers with her roommate, a guy. Oof, that's a red flag. A roommate, a guy? No. I was like, okay, seems like a good time. Happy to hear it. Then I heard that everyone was trying to get her to buy drinks. I said, yeah, you're pretty, so it's normal, isn't it? Then there was a few more times that I knew what she was doing. Yeah, she's an attention whore. She's a cheat. She's going out to all these parties. She's around guys. She's cheating. I mean, you took her back after she's dumped you 2-3 times of what she's done. Come on. This shouldn't be happening. Just count the blessing. You don't have kids with her. You didn't get married to her. Oh my goodness. Then she tells me, I have a question for you. If I were to get coffee or have dinner with some guy, are you going to be upset? This confirmed to me that she's willing to do something, and I knew what she was going to do with this guy. Then she disappeared for a while, finally came back one more time. And then during the night, I messaged her roommate, is Jessica fine? And she said she already went to bed. I sent her a message to ask why I haven't heard from her, because like she disappeared. She sends him a message saying, nothing is changing. I don't want to see you anymore. You even messaged my roommate, like, kind of leave me alone. So it's like, fine. He said he spent so much time and so much effort on someone that's not worth it, but he needed to get to the truth. I mean, the truth is obvious. Like, you've tried so much. Cheaters are never going to tell you what's going on. Just look at their actions. She's just wrong for you. She's wrong for you. She's wrong for every other guy. Until she gets serious help. It's not your job to fix her or save her. Just find a woman who doesn't have her problems. Then, at the very, very end, she started to confess that, yes, I did cheat on you. And then she, out of nowhere, she blocked me on Facebook, on Instagram. But when we were dating, she would never block her ex because she said there's no reason for that. This girl is something else, right? Then a few days later when I was at work, I saw her somewhere else. And she said, I said, why did you block me? And she said, because you told everyone about him. He obviously told people that she cheated on him with this guy. Now people are saying that I'm a whore and I don't care what people are talking about, but you told everyone. Yeah, reputation's on the line. I told her that I said the truth to my friends and that I knew about her meeting with this guy and all the stuff she's done. I said to her, you told me that you don't even like talking to him, that you don't even like him. And she replied, it just kind of happened. She started to be rude, crying, having an anxiety attack. So I said, let's meet after work next to your house. So I sat with her in the car and I said to her, are you afraid of me? She said, yes. I said, did I ever raise my voice at you, raise my hand on you, did do anything to hurt you? She said, no, you didn't. I said, exactly. Even I know the truth that I've treated you well. She couldn't give me an answer about why she did what she did. She simply said, I don't feel guilty. I didn't speak with him all the time. I'm not ashamed of anything. It's just in your head. You were overthinking that and that just happened. That's nice, isn't it? Liar, cheater, manipulator, you name it. I just said a few more things and asked if she's going to block me because I feel too special. I went home. Now at work, I see them there all the time together, which is not a nice feeling. And it's almost like I never existed to her. This is how cheaters see you. This is how narcissistic people see you. You're just a drop in the ocean. You don't mean a thing. On 17th of February, I had off from work this year, 2024. I noticed she unblocked me on Instagram and Facebook, but also put restrictions on her Facebook stories. Now, a year before, she asked me to go somewhere, and now they are going on holiday in March together. I'm healing one step at a time, moving on, going to the gym, reading, trying to understand what happened. The understanding of what happened is easy. You saw red flags at the beginning, that she's cheating on her boyfriend, she's flirting with every guy, and you thought that you could convince a cheater to be loyal. She doesn't have the ingredients or the qualities of a wife. That's what happened. And you were lustful, you wanted to be with her, maybe you find her very attractive, and now you were locked in. This has to change moving forward. Don't make the same mistake. My psychologist said that he didn't speak with her in person, but from what I was telling him, all the sessions we had, she has symptoms of BPD. It doesn't matter what symptoms she has, whether she has BPD, whether she has NPD, right, narcissistic personality disorder, or bipolar disorder, it doesn't matter. Yes, she obviously, and a lot of that overlaps, right, NPD to BPD. A lot of those qualities can mesh, which is definitely true. She has, an SMI, serious mental illness. But beyond that point, you regurgitating, going over, there's no secret rocket science behind this. She had red flags. She's a cheater. She's always been a cheater. You dated a cheater and she cheated on you. There's nothing you could have done to prevent it. You're a good looking guy. You take good care of yourself. You're accountable. You're responsible. You have a loyal heart. You're kind. You're loving. You've been good to her every day. It wasn't good enough because she doesn't value loyalty. You value loyalty. So you going back and forth with your sessions with your psychologist isn't going to change this. You blocking her, deleting her from everything, learning more about relationships, filling in your knowledge gap and finding a better woman when you feel better is the only thing that's going to change things. 27, you're a good looking guy. If you really want to be a husband and a father and learn how to court vet a woman to determine if she's right for you and how to find her from the get-go with no problems, a guarantee, and how to truly know at the core that you can trust this woman and love her and that she loves you back and that everything's solid, book a call with me. My link's down in the description in the website and I'll see if you're eligible to join Relationship Mastery. I think it can be good for you. That's what I can offer to help you if you want my personal mentorship. Because you going back and forth in a circle here isn't going to change anything. She's a cheater. She's always been a cheater. You were blindsided by your lust and you paid the price for it. That's the reality. Let this be a lesson to never let that happen again. And for the guys watching, avoid women like that. So with that said, I'd love to hear all your thoughts down below in the comment section. Thank you for Jimmy for being very brave and sharing something very intimate that happened to him in his personal life. Let that be a lesson to all of you. I'll see you guys in the next one. And I'll have a video pop up now on the end screen so you can learn more about red flags.